Should be bringing Instagram TV on pretty soon as well. So I for the last few weeks, I've been talking about what it means to be Black in America, our reality in America. And I want to continue in that vein, because if we aren't focusing our time, energy, efforts, resources, talents, as much as possible on how we're going to survive, not just in America, but around the world for the next 100 plus years, then in my opinion, we're wasting time. If we don't make time, and that doesn't mean you don't continue to do what you're doing. That doesn't mean you don't continue to work on your personal goals, your personal achievements, whatever you're working on personally. But that absolutely does mean that you must make time to build something moving forward for you, your family, your people, so that we can be in a position to protect ourselves from the enemies that we do have, protect ourselves from the predators that exist in and around every Black community, and protect ourselves from an onslaught, a wave of white supremacist activity that is coming. And when I say white supremacists, I'm not saying that white people are superior to us. Of course, I am not saying that. I am saying that that is the title that they have given themselves, and that they believe that they are inferior to us, just as they believe that we are inferior to them. Sadly, a lot of us have accepted the white man's myth of Black inferiority, and you can see that how we treat one another. You can see that in how we don't come together to build our communities. We've accepted the white man's definition of who we are and what we can do, and we need to change that. So moving forward, the title of today's live broadcast is the Black Reality in 2019 is killing us. Now let's focus on our alliances, which must include the Black church, so we can change the trajectory in 2020. I want to talk about that alliance because it's critically important. Regardless of what you might believe about a Black person, their religious beliefs, the Black church, if we have the Black church, not all Black churches, because it's never going to be every Black church, just like it's never going to be every Black person. But the more Black churches we have with us moving forward, the stronger we'll be, and the better able we'll be able to change the trajectory of where we're headed, both here in America and for our people worldwide. Because I believe Black people here in America have an opportunity to do things that a lot of our people can't do. So we need to get ourselves ready to move so that we can help them move as well, so that collectively we with them can move as a unified group. So 2019, the Black reality in 2019. This is what it means to be Black in America in 2019, and this is what we're facing moving forward in 2019. Critically important that we understand our reality. The bottom 50% of our households are worth less than $1. We got more brothers incarcerated in America than all women incarcerated worldwide. Black farmers are still being discriminated against. They can't get money for loans from the USDA like the white farmers do, which means they can't get their products to market. Automation, artificial intelligence, and machine language is replacing millions of jobs, which of course affects Black people. The White House just removed 3 million people from the food stamp rolls. And of course, more white people are on food stamps than black people, but that does not mean that a large number of our people won't be affected. Food deserts, which is defined as an area that has limited access to affordable, nutritious food, exists in every predominantly Black community in this country. Purge activity, which includes assassinations, murders, kidnappings, organ and sex trafficking, crimes committed by white people in blackface, wearing Black Hollywood-style masks, and that includes gloves, so their skin looks black as well. Crimes are being committed by white people wearing these Hollywood-style masks, and the police are looking for Black people. This kind of activity is happening in Black communities nationwide. The Donald Trump administration has refused to label and pursue domestic terrorism by white identity extremists on the same level as they have as it relates to pursuing quote-unquote foreign terrorists. There's been more terrorist activity on the soil of the United States of America committed by white identity extremists than by any other group of people since 9/11. Yet the Trump administration refuses to identify these persons as terrorists and refuses to put the resources needed to pursue them, which is allowing them to do what they're doing, and that doing is only going to increase. Under the Trump administration, the FBI's official counterterrorism priorities have included, quote, Black identity extremists, anti-authority extremists, and animal rights environmental extremists. Does not include white identity extremists, the people who are actually doing these mass shootings and who have committed more terrorist acts in America than any other group. It does not include them. The Department of Homeland Security, in a recent study, has found that state and local law enforcement agencies nationwide have been infiltrated with neo-Nazi members, and they have started secret terrorist cells developed to terrorize Black and Latino residents. Over 900 white supremacist organizations are in existence right now today in America, and many of them have been training for a race war. As I just said, there have been over 255 mass shootings in America since the beginning of this year, and there will be more. This is a new one to the list, and it's telling. Approximately 25.4% of the American population in the United States identify themselves as evangelical Christians. Let me give that number. And over 25% of that number, 25% of that 25.4%, which is about 20 million people, support Donald Trump. I'm going to read that again. Approximately 25.4% of the American population in the U.S. identify themselves as evangelical Christians. And over 25% of that 25.4%, some 20 million plus people support Donald Trump. It's critically important that we understand that, we remember that, and we pay attention to that, because Hitler was only one person. Mussolini was only one person. Stalin was only one person. But when you allow these persons to be supported by millions of people, when these ideas that these persons spew are adopted by millions of people, that's when they become dangerous. That's when they become a threat. And that's what we're looking at right now. Evangelical Christian leadership have adopted a position of forgiving Donald Trump for everything he's done. And for most of us who have any kind of lay knowledge of what it means to be a Christian, this man most certainly is not, but it doesn't matter, because it's not about Jesus. It's not about forgiveness. It's not about religion. It's about power. And the leaders of these churches know that, and they act in that vein. And it's very important for us, Black people, people of color in this country, to understand that there are millions of people that support this man that doesn't seem to support us. 100 conservative think tanks focus on maintaining white supremacy and white power. We are up against a criminal justice system that's always been unjust, a bail bond system that's always been unfair and unjust, an education system that's never properly educated us, our children, which means it's never going to educate the children to follow, a school to prison pipeline, excuse me, that is alive and well and highly functional in American society, a multi-billion-dollar prison industrial complex that you can buy stock in. That's something else the Donald Trump administration has done. They have brought back, they have reversed President Obama's elimination of private prisons. They've brought that back, which means private prisons, which is for profit, is becoming more prevalent in America. I need to add this to the list. At the time that I wrote the book, Black Gold Devalued, which was February of 2017, at that time, every state in this country was building more juvenile prisons than schools. At that time, it's about a year and a half ago, every state in this country was building more juvenile prisons than schools. What does that mean for us if prison has a profit motive? We got to keep that in mind, because that is our reality in 2019 moving forward. Redlining, gerrymandering, and gentrification, which is political power at its finest, working against us, not for us, is something we have to deal with. Over the past decade, the annual estimate of the number of gangs that exist in America is over 27,000. And we know that gang members, gang activity is a part of the problem in the Black community, because we prey on our own people and we terrorize our own people. So we not only have to deal with the government, racist white people, anti-Black groups working against us, we got our own people working against us, which means we got to get our stuff together so that we can protect our people. It's been 5 years since Flint, Michigan had safe water to drink, bathe in, and use. The majority of Puerto Rico, which are American citizens, were without power for over 11 months. Can you imagine being without power for 11 months? Hell, 11 days. I remember when the flood hit Katrina, when Katrina hit New Orleans, and how difficult the people in the news were saying it was to go help the people, save the people, whatever. I've been in the military. I know how rapidly tent cities can be built. Trust me, if they wanted to build something for the people in New Orleans to be safe, to be well fed, to be protected, to be taken care of, from my own personal experience in the U.S. military, they could have done that in 24 to 48 hours if they cared to do so. And they didn't, because they didn't care. The Donald Trump administration's, this is another new one. The Donald Trump administration's Citizenship and Immigration Services Department is seeking to change the language on the Statue of Liberty from "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free" to language that translates to "Give me your tired and your poor who can stand on their own 2 feet and who would not become a public charge." What person can predict the future and say that I will never need help? Not that illegal immigration is not a problem, but they're not dealing with it in a fashion that's humane, that's fair, because as quiet as it's kept, a lot of these people are fleeing from activity in their countries that America helped to start, with the toppling and dismantling of their government in these other countries. But we don't ever talk about that. We got to keep that in mind, that America is changing, and those changes are not pro-Black. So we have to prepare ourselves for those changes that some are still coming, but some are most certainly already here. And again, this is what it means to be Black in America. This is our reality in 2019 moving forward. The Donald Trump administration under Jeff Sessions again has reinstituted the privatizing of federal prisons, which means it's for profit. And the Department of Justice has proven that cities like Baltimore and Chicago, major U.S. cities, have engaged in, quote, a pattern and practice of conduct that violates the First, Fourth, and 14th Amendments. The First Amendment deals with the freedom of religion, speech, the press, and the right to address and petition your government if you have an issue with them. The Fourth Amendment allows for protection from unlawful search and seizures. The police just can't come into your house and start searching for stuff. They can't just grab you and throw you down and start searching on you. That's what the Fourth Amendment is about. It protects you from that. And the 14th Amendment is our right as African Americans to be protected after slavery. And the Donald Trump administration has been found to be changing all of that, which of course affects us, which is very important that we understand that, because again, America is changing. And lastly, the Donald Trump administration has also repealed civil rights protections all across the board, from HUD to government departments to Department of Commerce and all that good stuff. So that list is simply a snapshot of what it means to be Black in America. And the point that I'm trying to make is that America is changing. America was built on race. America's been a racist place from the very beginning. We've been fighting against America, trying to get her to live up to her ideal since we were allowed to fight back after we were freed from slavery, and that fight is still going on. The people that follow Donald Trump, they've always been there. The people that support Donald Trump, they've always been there. He simply allowed them to come out of the closet, to come out of the shadows, to be publicly white, if you will, and really express how they feel. And he's made them feel that it's okay to be racist. And for those of us that are conscious, that's not new. But the fact that they're becoming so bold, 255 mass shootings, most of them, I won't say most, a large number of them motivated by the verbiage, the words that Donald Trump spews. And there's going to be more before the year is over. What I just gave you, the list I just read to you, is a brief snapshot of what it means to be Black in America. A brief snapshot. I'm going to add 1 or 2 a week. So probably by the end of the year, maybe I have somebody else read it, or it'll just be a recording when I start. I don't know. But we have some very, very, very serious issues that we have to deal with, that we will only be successful in dealing with if we organize ourselves and unify ourselves in a fashion that's going to create power for our children moving forward. I talked about a few weeks ago a documentary about the Vietnam War that I was watching. The Vietnamese were successful in pushing back both French and American, aggression, because they were not only fighting on their homeland, and they had a different motivation than those people that were invading it, but they saw the handwriting on the wall, and they prepared for the arrival of the Americans 10 years before they got there. They saw what was happening. They saw which way the wind was blowing. They saw all the signs, so they prepared themselves 10 years prior. They prepared to fight on the ground. They prepared to fight in the mountains. They prepared to fight from the trees. They prepared, and the things that they were able to do allowed them to push back against a major military might in the world at that time. And the Vietnam War eventually became a stalemate, where Vietnam was split in half, North and South Vietnam, and it's still split that way today. Another thing that the Vietnamese did is that they sought alliances. they knew that they could not, from their own resources, push back against French and American aggression. They knew they needed help. They knew they needed allies, so they reached out to China, and China was there to assist, and they assisted in a big way. They didn't agree with everything as it relates to how the Chinese conducted their business. They didn't agree with them economically. They didn't agree with them as it relates to governing, and they most certainly didn't agree with them religiously. But they had the same political connection, which allowed them to get support that they needed from China, which helped them to push back. In a war, you can't pick and choose your alliances. In a war, I take that back. In a war, you can afford to pick and choose your alliances and or your allies. If you know that you are up against a foe, an aggressor, an enemy that's greater than you are, that has resources that you don't have, then it's in your best interest to seek out alliances that are going to help you move your people forward. Black people in America, descendants of slaves in America, we are born into a war that we did not start. Again, we are 200 plus years behind of preparing for this war that we're born into that we did not start. We have to educate most of our people to the fact that we're in a war and we're surrounded on every front. We need as many allies as we can get. The Black church has to be one of those allies. On October 5th of this year, we're hosting the Black Gold Nations Black Church and Black Organization Survival Summit because we understand that our survival is at stake. The list that I just read for you is a snapshot. It is not complete. It is not exhaustive. It doesn't list everything that we have to face, but it's enough to let you know that we have some very serious issues that we have to deal with moving forward in America if we don't want to become a permanent underclass. Your personal goals of whatever you're trying to accomplish, your personal to-do list of whatever you're trying to do, your personal business goals, whatever those things are, does not supersede our need to come together as a people and build. Because regardless of your personal success, if your people are being attacked and you're just one person, guess what? Whatever you've accomplished won't matter because you'll be attacked as well because you are identified as a member of a group. So we have to find alliances where we can find those alliances. We have to use them moving forward. What we get in an alliance with the Black church, we get a group of people who believe in something. And you may not believe what they believe in, but that don't matter because it's not your place to tell them what to believe or not. And you can come with the historical aspects of whatever you believe, but it doesn't matter because it's their religious beliefs. That's why in the Black Gold movement, we don't do religion because you can't debate someone's belief system. And we respect people's religion. What we get as an alliance with the Black church is a group of people who believe in something. We get a group of people that have a very large number in their following. There are over 85,000 Black churches in this country, 85,000. If we only got 10% of that 85,000, we'd have a lot of allies. An alliance with the Black church gives us an alliance with the people that have a belief system that's strong, that they can rely upon. It gives us numbers that we can use. It gives us expertise that we need. How many engineers are in these churches? How many scientists are in these churches? How many intellectuals are in these churches? How many lay Black men and women are in these churches? How many retired military, current active military are in these churches? How many people would be willing to give and support a movement that's about building power that attend our Black churches? We have to stop putting our people in a box because they have a religious belief. We have to understand that we are in a war and we need alliances and allies in as large a number as we can get. Aligning ourselves with the Black church gives us alliances with a group of people that have a belief system, that have group identity, that have large numbers. They have land and they have institutions. Most of them have a chain of command. Most of them have an organization and leadership structure. Most of them have a communications system by which they can connect and communicate with one another. Most of them have generations of leadership and or people in this organization. I met a brother last week. I've been talking about the Black Gold Summit for the past few weeks now, maybe two or three. And Ricky Smiley, the comedian, did a video about a CNN special he saw about white supremacy. It scared the crap out of him. He made a video, and I've been putting that out there to try and get more black people involved with the Survival Summit. One brother in particular, who is now a member of a supporter of the Black Gold Movement, he watched the first few minutes of Ricky Smiley's video and immediately put the brother in the box and wouldn't listen to anything else. He started to go on and on about the Christian religion and what they believe. And actually, he thought I was a Christian as well. He was saying, what you guys believe, your slave master, white people. He just went on and on and on about stuff that had absolutely nothing to do with the video. I had to constantly tell him, listen to the video, listen to the video, listen to the video, because what Ricky Smiley was saying in the video, if you haven't seen it, is that white supremacy is a bad thing. We black people need to prepare ourselves for what's coming. If you don't own a weapon, buy a weapon. If you don't have food stored up, get some food and store it up. If your pastor isn't telling you about white supremacy, you might be in the wrong church. Now, most Christians aren't talking that way. Most black Christians aren't thinking that way. Most black Christians aren't trying to get other black Christians to do that. So I was trying to get this brother to step down off his soapbox, listen to what the brother was saying, and understand what his point was. And we went back and forth for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 days, because it was on Facebook. And I finally got him to listen to the majority of the video. He didn't listen to all of it, but when I started telling him what we were about, the Black Gold Movement, then he saw what I was talking about. I sent him our mission, which is absolutely fantastic. I sent him a flyer that lays out what we believe and why we believe it, which is absolutely fantastic. And now he is coming on board to help us make the Survival Summit a success. But I had to go back and forth with him for 2 or 3 days to get him to understand what Ricky Smiley was talking about, because he was not willing to give the brother time of day. Because he saw Christian, he heard Christian, and immediately he put the brother in a box and wouldn't listen to anything else. We can't afford to do that. We don't have that luxury. And as quiet as it's kept, as quiet as we don't want to talk about it, all of our conscious community brothers and sisters, all of our people who have a problem with Christian religion, all of our brothers and sisters have a problem with black people who believe in Jesus or whatever. The black church has stuff that you don't have. The black church is doing things that you're not doing. The black church is involved in things that you're not involved in, most of you. But you talk about the black church as if you have something that can rival the black church. And I'm telling you right now, just so you know, and I've said this God knows how many times, my revolutionary training comes out of a black church. And I will put the leadership that I was trained under in that black church against any leadership, any leader in the history of this country. I will put our leadership up against anybody, because the leadership that I was trained under was absolutely phenomenal across the board. I will put our message, our mission, our program, our plans, our attendance up against any organization, black, white, revolutionary church, otherwise, anybody. And the only organization that will be able to rival what we were doing in the Shrines of the Black Madonna is the Nation of Islam that I have seen. Christian black organization. We would go out to the community and talk to brothers and sisters about coming to the church. I would often get into debates with brothers who had a problem with the black church because of their misunderstanding of what we were all about. And at the end of the conversation, at the end of the debate, I could always ask them the question, what are you doing to build power for black people? What are you doing to protect black women? What are you doing to make a better way for black children? And I could tap on the concrete building of the church, because we had institutions that they could not do. Most of our black people who have issues with black churches don't fully understand the church, got the church in a box, and aren't doing anything that's even close to what the black church is doing. It doesn't matter if you don't believe in what they believe. It doesn't matter if you don't like what they're doing. If they're not hurting any children, they're not forcing anybody to do anything against their will, then so be it. We need allies. If you have Netflix and you haven't seen it, you need to watch the documentary called The Family. It's about a I'm not sure if it was a secret society, but it's about a family of white people that has supported presidents going back some 8 or 9 presidents, because they understood that it was about power, and they used religion to push their message. They did not care about Jesus. They did not care about peace. They did not care about loving your enemy. They cared about power. And these same people are supporting Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is supported by millions of people in this country. And it is obvious to me, as it's probably obvious to you, that Donald Trump is racist. He's a bigot. He's misogynist. He's a sexist. He doesn't seem to be very intelligent to me. He's most certainly not a good business person, because he's filed bankruptcy, I don't know, 6 or 7 times. He's a liar. He's a cheat. He's a lot of things that you would think a person calling themselves a Christian minister or pastor would not be able to support. But if you understand that it's not about all that Bible stuff, it's about power, then you understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. And I'm saying, as a people in 2019 with so much stacked against us, as a people in 2019 with so many things that we have to face, confront, and deal with, we cannot afford to not align ourselves with every black person that's willing to align themselves with us. We have got to find a way to work together, because we need one another. We need them because of what they bring, and they need us because of what we bring, because we bring a different approach to changing the power dynamic in our communities nationwide. And most of us will probably agree that the black church can do more and or needs to do more, but that doesn't mean that they're not doing something, and that doesn't mean that we don't need their help. 85,000 black churches in this country. What if we only had 10%? And that 10% allowed us to use their facilities. That 10% allowed us to partner with their congregation. That 10% came on board and became supporting members. That 10% allowed us to use their institutions. That 10% got involved in the survival summit and things that we're working on to move black people forward. We need people to be involved in a movement that's trying to move black people forward. We can't afford to judge our brother or sister based on something that they believe that we don't believe in or that we disagree with, because we don't have that luxury. There are forces out there in America right now plotting against our forward progress, our advancement, who want to see us in a permanent second-class status. I watched, someone sent me a video of Richard Spencer, the founder of the alt-right movement, having a conversation with Charles Barkley and a black attorney. And Richard Spencer was openly saying, I believe in white supremacy. I think it's a good thing. I believe in power. It's an absolutely wonderful thing. I don't really care about you and your equality. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. I want white people to be in power and on top. That's what he was saying. And Charles Barkley and the brother of the attorney, they didn't know what to say. What you mean you don't believe in equality, and what you mean America's not fair? And they didn't know what to do or what kind of conversation to have with Richard Spencer, who was just saying what millions of people believe in this country. In 2019, if you're shocked by the behavior of white people that you haven't paying attention, I take that back. If in 2019, if you're over the age of 25 and you are shocked by the behavior of white people, then you're not paying attention. If you're over the age of 30, shame on you. And if you're over the age of 40, I don't know, we might have to pray for you and move beyond you, because you're not ready. We have to understand what we're up against. We have to understand what we're up against is real. And we absolutely must understand that what we're up against is moving in a fashion that's detrimental to our forward progress. If we're going to win, because it's not guaranteed, if we're going to win, we have to prepare to move ourselves in a fashion that's going to put us in a position to be in control of our environment, in control of our destiny. We need to own and control our own stuff. I had the wonderful opportunity of dropping off my youngest to Prairie View A&M University. I was absolutely blown away at all the beautiful young black people that were getting ready to go to college, my child included. And I had a thought, how wonderful would it be if we had one HBCU, one historically black college and university? Just one, not all, not two, not three, just one. What if we had one HBCU that was 100% focused on building power for Black people. Just one. All these young Black people being taught how to build power for Black people in America and around the world. All these young Black people putting all of their intellectual talent, the intellectual gifts, their natural gifts, all that energy into building power for Black people. We'd be a completely different group of people in a completely different position. We can make that happen if we start planning for it right now. And I'm talking about one HBCU. What do we have? Two that are working on that. The professors are focused on Black power. The curriculum is focused on Black power. The degree plan is about Black power. The graduating and working for and with your people is about Black power. Graduating, connecting with your people worldwide is about power. What could we do with that kind of institutional prowess moving toward Black power? That may not be the reality today, but that most certainly can be the reality in 5 to 6 years. And if we have enough Black churches on board with the building of power for Black people, that it may not be a traditional HBCU, but we can most certainly have our own school system that's preparing our children for life in America that has always been anti-Black. We have to understand that no one is going to teach us what needs to be taught so that we can move ourselves forward. No one is going to give us what we need to move ourselves forward. No white person is going to fund your nonprofit so that you can rival their power. Never going to happen. We have to understand that if we're going to move forward, we have to move forward in a unified fashion as much as possible. And like the post that I made today, quoting Sister Shirley Chisholm, you can't win being on the sideline. You can't win watching from the sidelines. You can't win pointing fingers at what somebody isn't doing and you not doing anything. You can't win just talking about the problem. You got to get involved. You got to find somebody, some group that's trying to do something, be it the Black Gold Nation or not, that's trying to do something for Black people and get involved to help make it happen. And then you have to work to make sure that that organization you're involved in is going to be successful. We got too many of our people talking about one another and not working. Too many of our people critiquing one another and not working. Too many of our people talking about what other people are doing and they themselves aren't doing anything. It ain't gonna cut it. If we're going to win, we have to have enough Black people that are on board doing the same thing at the same time. So again, October 5th of this year, we want to have the Black Gold Nations Black Church and Black Organization Survival Summit, whereby we are going to give concrete solutions in 19 different areas from our leadership in this movement, as well as other leadership that we're bringing on board that can give our people answers to the things that are destroying us and holding us back. And we don't just want to give you answers, but we want to give you concrete steps to making those answers a reality in your life and in your community, so that as a collective group in this country and around the world, we are moving together as one unified group, one unified tribe, one unified community, one unified nation. Every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I had to add Wednesday because we're bringing more people on board. Every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday of this month and next month, we're going to deal with a different issue as it relates to what's destroying Black people. And we're having an online community meeting webinar so that we can introduce you to our leadership. You can learn about their solutions and their plans to move us forward. You have the opportunity to challenge and or debate them, but I warn you, our leadership, they are on point with whatever they're talking about. So if you feel your solution is better, then be prepared you better come with it, because our leadership is extremely efficient with what they're doing. We are meeting new leadership from other organizations that are already doing things that want to help us make this thing happen. So every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, for the most part, we're going to have an event focusing on a different area whereby our people are losing, and we're going to give concrete solutions and invite you to be a part of that solution. We want to expand our cabinet department for our cabinet members for these departments. And of course, we want to have more support for these departments, because without the cabinet members and without the support of the people, none of these plans will happen. And for the next month and a half, as we give these solutions Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday on October 5th in churches nationwide. We want to roll out these solutions to Black people around the country and around the world. Because like I said, we have more people coming on board that aren't here in the US. Because we want our people to know that A, solution exists. B, there's a Black person that understands that solution. C, this is what you can do to be a part of this solution. And D, if we all do these things together, we can win. I've given this example before. I'm going to give it to you again because this is how simple it is for us to move ourselves forward in a unified manner. If one Black person who cares and loves Black people goes out and get another Black person, that's two Black people working toward moving Black people forward. If those two get 2 more, that's 4. If those 4 get 4 more, that's 8. Those 8 get 8 more, that's 16. If we do that, one getting one for 27 days, at the end of the 27th day, if all those persons gave $4 per month, that would be over $500 million. If 10% of those persons gave 5 minutes a day, that would be over 1 million hours we could use to do something with. All we have to do is decide to make that happen, and we can make that happen. And I understand that not every Black church is going to be involved, but I also understand that not every Black person who considers themselves conscious is going to be involved. I understand that every Black person who needs what we're trying to do is not going to be involved. We can't afford to put our people in a box because we don't know what that person's all about. We don't know their background, what they've been through, what they're willing to do. We have to ask and give everybody an opportunity to be a part of what we're doing, because we can't afford to eliminate our own people because we need our people to move forward. So if you want more information about the Black Gold Movement, go to our main website, blackgoldnation.com. Click on About, read our mission. If that makes sense to you, go to our events website, Black Gold Wakanda Rising. Click on presentations, or RSVP for a presentation so you can learn more about the movement. If you already seen the presentation and you want to know more about the Survival Summit, same events website, Black Gold Wakanda Rising. Click on Survival Summit. Everything is there. Read it, check it out, and become a part of the Survival Summit. The webinars, the community meeting webinars, is only $4 per event. Because to be a member in this movement, a supporting member, we only ask that you give $4 per month. So we're trying to get our people in the mindset of giving that $4 per month because we want to use those dollars to fund these 19 national departments so that we can have a unified effort to push back against the things that are destroying our people. And again, if we don't do this, if we don't come together in some unified way under some unified umbrella with a unified agreement as to what an answer is and or solution to what's destroying our people, we're going to lose. And we're losing right now. So the Black Gold Movement wants to create a platform by which you can not only be involved, but you will have a critical understanding of what you are involved in and what the answer is per a given problem as it relates to moving our people forward. So with that, thank you guys for being a part of the live broadcast. I sincerely appreciate it. If you haven't already done so, please like us, follow us, subscribe to us on Facebook and YouTube. Hopefully I'll be able to say that really soon about Instagram as well. And always remember 2 things. No one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And always remember that absolutely nothing is more sacred than the liberation and salvation of Black people. I apologize. I don't have time to go through the list and answer questions. I'll do so after the live broadcast, but I have a presentation with some brothers and sisters from the Netherlands who want to be a part of the Black Gold Movement. So God bless you guys. Please share this with 5 or 10 Black people and be a part of the Survival Summit so that we can bring more Black people on board, so that we can do what we need to do to build power for ourselves and our children and for every Black generation to follow. Thank you guys very much. God bless. Have a good day. Bye-bye.